everybody. We are here at Summer Games Fest. I am joined with Jackie Simmons, who's the Senior Brand Manager from Capcom, checking out Street Fighter 6. I am ridiculously excited to have you here and to talk about the game because I am having a blast. I got a chance to check out some of the game, played a little bit of it a little while ago, and when I saw the trailer pop up, I lost my mind. I was like, what is happening? I can't believe it's finally coming through. We finally got a chance to see not only the kind of starting for folks in the game, but also Guile just got talked about in the space. How are you feeling about the kind of initial info dump that's been out in the world now, kind of finally seeing what you all been working on?
It is so incredibly awesome to see your project finally coming into fruition. We've been working for the past few years on development and working closely with the development team to have this come out into the real world. And we're loving the reception so far. I mean, with Street Fighter 6, we're definitely trying to kind of push the boundaries of what we feel is a fighting game and redefining that space. And I know it seemed like such an info dump, but we thought it would be such a disservice to just only show one pillar of the game, which was Fighting Grounds, which everyone's loving on the floor. But we wanted to show, that expansion of what truly defines 6, which was that inclusion of World Tour mode as well as Battle Hub. So can't wait to show more, but really glad about the positive reception so far.
Yeah, it's been super cool to see, you have initial layers of that kind of start to be talked about, but, getting that initial part of just the base game right feels super, super good. Like, everything feels really nice and chunky, but it feels really fluid, which I've loved as a Street Fighter fan for a long time. How important has it been to, again, try to figure out good ways to bring in new players with the kind of different command style for controls while also keeping the classic style together? How's it been kind of making sure that you're bringing in new fans while making sure the hardcore folks are super happy too?
It's definitely a balance, and I think, another thing we wanted to accomplish with Street Fighter 6 was we kind of internally wanted to have this kind of Street Fighter for all approach. We have fans that have been playing Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2, and even, some that have kind of, grew up with Street Fighter or, our first time fighters interested, from even our recent like Street Fighter 5 launch. And so how do we make that balance for those people that are aficionados and competitors, because we are also in the esports space, but also those people that are kind of intrigued from the announcement, like, hey, how do I get into this world, and not feel so intimidated. So, part of that was to create this control scheme for both classic and modern, and it's not a way to where, we want people that kind of approach fighting games not only feel like less intimidated, by having those simpler inputs, it makes it feel like it lifts that veil that I think fighting games are kind of known for it to be a little bit more complex. It takes away a little bit of that intimidation, and they get to play together. Yeah. And I think that's one thing we actually saw with the demo. That was the thing we wanted to accomplish as well, was people that were like, we never played a Street Fighter game before, and wow, like I really want to play more. I want to learn more. And we're like, yes. So it's not even just about, not just about getting into the game day one, but also wanting to learn more about how fighting games, how you can like level up and, maybe see yourself in other ventures like esports and maybe play competitive in the future.
I mean, as a person who dabbles in trying to be competitive in the space while also being more of a casual, it was nice to be able to see those multiple control schemes be in this space. But I think the thing that popped off for most folks who got their initial kind of viewing of the game has been the art style and the aesthetic is just ridiculously good. That mashup of that kind of hip-hop vibe, that kind of graffiti vibe with so many splashes of color on the screen and the kind of, new kind of visuals for it. From your perspective and from that, did that also kind of lean into, pulling in new players and kind of giving more folks a space to kind of grow with it?
Well, for one, it was really exciting to see how people are receiving, art, the character designs, especially powered by the RE engine.
Yeah.
I know we gave a little bit of a teaser back in February, and now people are seeing that with, the starting roster, and especially recently Guile, and people are like, wow, this looks amazing. Now, in terms of that hip hop, underground kind of elements that you see with Street Fighter 6, I feel like it's like a way for us to pay homage because it's always kind of grew up with us. We've always had those attachments to like hip hop culture, and we just felt like it just kind of fit really natural to what we were trying to kind of achieve for this game.
Yeah, I feel like you're nailing that part so well. It feels so nice to see, the different kinds of layers of the hub that are going to be talked about a little bit later, and then, the designs on the characters. Is there a space in which you're thinking about, when you're thinking about the kind of next layers of talking about the game and sharing that out? Are you thinking about, with that commentator space that you also have put in there, which I thought was a really fun addition to it, of bringing in folks from the FGC and talking about the game and having their voices kind of guide you through or, commentate over your match play? How important was it to add that layer of it to the game too, to kind of, again, pay homage to the folks who have helped to grow the scene?
It was incredibly important. I mean, Street Fighter isn't just a game to us, it's a culture, right? We're attached to fighting game community. They're so devoted and dedicated, not only to just like that ecosystem in general, like that grassroots movement. And so, we have our own esports programs. We have, Capcom Pro Tour that's been running for years, as well as SFL. And we just felt like, we had to kind of recognize that, because behind, our productions is, players, the competitors, commentators and tournament organizers. And so it's like, how do we get them involved, especially during our evolution? Like, how do we grow together? So with that addition to the commentator feature, a real-time commentator, player feature, we were just able to kind of say, hey, you worked with us, like, let's work together on this. And of course, with our starting roster, Aru and Vicious, they were like, okay, when can we sign up? Like, Vicious was incredibly excited, and we were so happy for him, to be in that, starting reveal. But of course, that's not going to be all. So we will be revealing more, commentators in the future, and we definitely look forward to, seeing that positive response. But everyone's been really liking that feature so far as well.
Big shout out to Vicious, who's fam.
Yes.
Spawn on me fan, Vicious. I see you out there.
Yes.
One of the other parts of the conversation, again, the local game is really important to folks who are in the fighting game tournament scene. Having that, in person, one-on-one, sitting in front of the console, sitting in front of the TV experience is really important. Have you all talked about, or are you going to talk a little bit about in the future, what network play is going to look like for the team? Is it something that you're discussing now, or is that a thing that we'll be talking about later in the year?
There will definitely be something we can talk about, more in depth in the future.
Yep.
And we definitely look forward to sharing more details on that.
Okay, perfect. So I got to ask, what's your favorite character? Which one are you playing out of the four of the roster that's there now? We won't try to, no spoilers. Don't try to get at me. Of the four kind of folks in the roster right now, which one is your favorite?
Honestly, I always love Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Everyone's loving the design for her. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's also really fun to play. She has still a lot of her, iconic moves, and people are loving how it's kind of shown in this more photorealistic, experience. I would also like Jamie. His kit is so fun. I don't know if you got to play it yet.
Yeah.
But he has this kind of breakdance style kind of fighting. And you also have like this addition where, he kind of drinks from his gorge to kind of go into his own like kind of rage, element that actually unlocks this additional moveset. And he's just such a fun character to play. There's additional layers of complexity while it's still simple to execute them, whether you're doing classic or modern. So highly recommend you check him out. A lot of people love his aesthetics. We love his aesthetics. But yeah, he's very fun to play.
You can't see how big I'm smiling right now because I have my mask on, but I'm extremely excited to jump back into Street Fighter as a Street Fighter fan. I grew up on MK, but Street Fighter was the base for all of it. Being in the bodega back home in the Bronx, getting my games in, knocking people off at the pizza shop. It's been so fun to see you all kind of go wacky and go super fun and wild with the aesthetic and everything. So I'm extremely excited to see how 6 rolls out. We'd love to have you on the show at some point to talk more about things when more conversations roll out. We're going to talk more about Street Fighter 6 in the future. And Jackie, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Yes, thank you so much. Street Fighter 6 coming out 2023. It's going to be available on PlayStation, PC, and back on Xbox.
You know what? Yeah. That is really quick before we go. How important is that? Again, growing out the scene and having more folks in the Xbox ecosystem come through.
We are so happy to be back on the Xbox family, and we, like I said, it just wouldn't feel right if we were trying to go for a Street Fighter All approach without including them. So we're very excited to announce that, in our day one announcement, and hopefully more details to come. But glad to be here.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to get beat up from everybody now. Everybody on the Xbox side,
Yeah.
PlayStation side, PC side, you're all going to kick my ass. It's
Exactly.
going to be great.
Competition's going to get hotter and hotter.
Oh my God. Speaking of hotter and hotter,
Yeah.
no doubt out here,
Yeah.
I am sweating. We're going to be back with more Spawn on Me, more stuff from Summer Games Fest. We'll be back after this.
Thank you.